All right, I'm going to get started if that's okay with everybody, because we're 2 minutes after 1. Can everybody hear me okay? Good. Well, I want to welcome you to our pre-departure workshops. I'm going to introduce myself and then I'll let my co-presenters also introduce themselves. I am Dr. Cheryl Price. I am the interim assistant dean of the College of Art Sciences and Engineering, and I am responsible for helping to organize our study abroad in my college, but I've also been helping out with the Office of International Affairs this year to help them out as well. I am an education abroad leader myself. I will be taking a group of students to England this upcoming year, and I believe this will be my 4th trip, I think, with students abroad, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I will let my co-presenters introduce themselves. Dr. Hu, are you ready?
Sure, I'm ready here. Thank you,
Oh, we
Dr.
can't hear you.
Price. This is, oh, can you hear me? Hello? Okay. My name is Paul Hu. I'm Associate Vice Provost for International Affairs here at the UNA. Very happy to meet the rest of you participants for the study abroad and the UNA. We really love you to take advantage of what the UNA can offer. The great opportunity, one of the greatest opportunity you can take as a student here is to go embrace the world. And this pre-departure orientation will give you some most important information to make sure you follow all the university regulations and policies and do not expose into other risks or make any regrettable mistakes. So without further ado, I would like also to let you know our colleague, Ms. Emily Ferris from International Office.
All right, hi everybody, can you hear me? Good deal. Well, as Dr. Hu said, my name is Emily Ferris. I'm Student Recruitment Specialist here in International Affairs, and I primarily work with our ISEP students, so students that are going on an exchange for 1 or 2 semesters, and I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But before I worked here, I was a student at UNA myself and had the opportunity to go on several faculty-led trips, and it was honestly just one of the best experiences of my whole college experience. So I'm really excited that y'all have this opportunity, and yeah, we're excited to share everything with you today.
I'm Kate Hanbury, guys. I'm the Title IX coordinator and the director for education prevention and response. So I'm going to talk to you in a few minutes about all of that. And then also Dr. Nick Gordon is not with us today, so I'm also going to talk to you guys a little bit about the code of conduct and what that is in a few minutes. So hello, I'm Kate.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to share my screen and hope that this works. All right. Do you see? Oh, y'all disappeared. Okay. Hopefully you see a PowerPoint. Somebody holler at me if you don't. Okay. All right, let's get started. Okay. So contact and emergency numbers. So obviously your first point of contact when you are on your trip abroad will be your faculty leader. Now, if there is some circumstance where you can't get a hold of them or they're incapacitated for any reason, you will probably want to call the UNA campus police department number. That's because it's a 24/7 number. If you call, they will make sure that you get in contact with who you need to get in contact with and start the process if there's anything they can do to help. So that's an important contact information. I recommend just putting that into your phone so that you have it because you don't want to try to look it up if there's an emergency. Another contact number will be Emily, who just introduced herself. That is her contact information if you need anything abroad. And if you are in the College of Art Sciences and Engineering, I am also one of your contacts. So I don't have my information on the screen, but I will help you remember my name. So if you remember The Price is Right, you will be able to find me. So just remember Price is Right if you need to contact me for any reason. And again, we do recommend just going ahead and putting at the very least the UNA Campus Police Department number in your phone, just in case anything were to happen. So why study abroad? Well, each one of you has asked that question. You've decided that it is worthwhile, hopefully for a number of reasons. All the reasons on the screen are all valuable reasons to study abroad, whether it's that you want to become more of a global citizen if you haven't traveled before, you want to become immersed in a new culture, if you're looking towards the future and you're thinking about employability. I have had feedback from students who have said that they did talk about their education abroad experiences during interviews and what they learned and how they adapted. So it's good for future employment as well. Or if you're just looking for a unique life experience or academic opportunity, they're all wonderful reasons to study abroad. Okay. So today, our primary goal is to prepare you so that you are safe and you have a good time on your abroad trip. So the ways that we are working to keep you safe is first our pre-departure orientations, like the one that you are in right now. We have insurance that's been purchased for every student, which we will go over the details of that a little bit later in the presentation. Your faculty have had training as well to they had a training in the fall about how to keep you safe and risk management while abroad. And also we're here back on campus to support you in case anything happens while you're abroad. And I think, Dr. Hoob, is that you that wanted to add some things?
Oh,
Excuse
sorry.
me.
I think
Oh.
mine is under the international one. I was just gonna say, we can see the screen, but for some reason the presentation isn't up. I think it's maybe your background.
Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me know.
Sure.
Let me fix
At
it.
first it was showing, but it's just the background. So
Okay.
in order to make
Let me
sure they
stop
could see the
share.
screen.
Let me share again. There. Is that better?
Yes, okay. I can
Okay.
see it now. Maybe someone else can confirm. Yeah, that should be good now. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Thanks. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. So we will move on. Okay. So now we are at the point of Title IX and talking about Title IX and student conduct. So actually, let me back out of that one and pull up Kate. I've got your PowerPoint to pull up and I will run that for you. Okay, so I gotta share that window. That would be this one. Okay. Does that look right to everybody?
I think so.
Okay, awesome. All right.
Okay, so. Okay, again, guys, I'm Kate, and I'm the Title IX coordinator here on campus. I'm just going to kind of go over what Title IX does and let you guys get a better understanding of that. Typically, this is the part where I would ask if anyone had heard of Title IX, but I can't see any of you, so I'm not going to ask any questions that would need an answer. Do I have control, Dr. Price, or will you hit next? Can I do that? Do you have to do that? Okay, again, this is typically where I would ask you to sign in, but because of this specific group, Dr. Price, I'm going to ask you to just send me this email information of these students and I will log them in, so you can also hit next for that. Okay, guys, so Title IX was originally created about 50 years ago for equity within sports. So it was originally just created based on the fact that men's teams were prevalent in college life, and women's teams were not, and so therefore the scholarships were going towards men and not women. So they created equity, and so now there's just as many women's teams as there is men's teams. So like here, how we have women's soccer, we don't have men's soccer, but we make up for that on football, tennis, golf to keep it even. But again, that's just a little quick overview of where we came from, and it's grown exponentially since then. So we cover a lot of different things now, which I'm also going to tell you a little bit about. So if you'll hit next for me, Dr. Price. Okay, this is my team, guys. So clearly that's me. I'm the coordinator. In the middle is Dr. Gurley. He is the investigator and deputy Title IX coordinator. And then Miss Patty is on the end. She is our administrative assistant. If you need any of us, if you see us around, you just know that we're here to help you. So if you just want to say hello, we will also say that. If you'll just hit next for me. Okay, so these are the things that we cover. Just quickly going over all of them. So quid pro quo is something that would happen where that's a term for essentially a favor for a favor. So in any classroom setting or any setting really in your personal life, we don't condone that behavior. So, but especially professionally, a favor for a favor. Hostile environment can be a number of different things. I don't necessarily think that you guys are going to run into this on a trip, but I do want you to know that it's what we handle within this office. We also handle sexual assault. We handle dating violence and domestic violence. Stalking, which I always try to clarify this for our students, is stalking can be considered as a behavior that happens more than once with an intervening no. So if something happens and you might not like that or don't want that to happen again, and you say, hey, will you stop that? And then that happens again from that person that you have already asked to stop, at that point you would come and let us know about it, and we would kind of talk to you about what your options are. Sexual exploitation is also something that we cover. So this is just a rule of thumb for anyone in the room. I do not send a picture of your body to anyone for any reason, ever. Peeping toms, revenge porn, which could also fall under that sexual exploitation, where if someone has something that you may have shared with them in a trusting situation and then they utilize that against you, that's something that we would work with you on. Non-consensual sexual contact and sex and gender-based discrimination. Again, these are a lot of terms that I'm throwing at you, and they're all kind of scary. So if you or anyone that you know is struggling with any of these things, I want you to feel comfortable enough to just reach out to Title IX. It's not my job to chase you guys around and say, is something happening? That's not really the way it works. So I work with students who come to me. So I just want you to be able to know that that's what we're here for if you are struggling, or if you have a friend that may be struggling. You can hit next for me, Dr. Price. These definitions are just really kind of going in depth. I would just let you guys take a few minutes to read over these, and if anyone has a question, raise their hand. So Dr. Price, I say about in 23-second intervals, I would hit next and let them go through this just to see. And again, I think Dr. Price can email you this information as well, just so that you have it. If you are questioning and you just want some clarification, you can also go back and look at these. I guess you could go ahead and hit next if you want to. Sexual assault, I think that's pretty clear for everyone. I think clearly if no one wants to be touched, consent's really important. So that's something that you guys will also go over in a few minutes. You guys are all adults, so I think it's important that you understand that we understand that as well. So as long as consent is present, then you guys can live your lives, you know. If you'll hit next for me. Domestic and dating violence, the real difference here is the living situation. So dating violence is when maybe you've had a previous partner and you guys are not jiving too well. That would qualify under dating violence because we would have proof of a previous relationship. Domestic is really based on where you live. So that's a partner that lives with you, or it could even be a roommate. So we have had situations where domestic violence can be in play just between two people that are living in a home. There's not necessarily a sexual relationship taking place at that point, but those violence is not something we condone either way. So if you are suffering or if you know someone, please reach out to us, okay? You can hit next for me. Stalking and retaliation. Again, we talked about stalking earlier, and that's just a behavior that happens more than twice. And then retaliation, that's also if we have a student that reaches out to us that is suffering or knows of someone suffering and shares that information with us. Number one, we protect that information. So I'm not just out here telling everyone that I had a conversation with you and what was said, but we also protect you from the ability of someone else coming, I guess, at you, for lack of a better term, because you said something. That's something we take serious, and that's not okay at all. So if you have ever reported something and are struggling with something like that, where you feel like someone's coming to retaliate against you based on your report, that's definitely not okay. And I would also appreciate it if you would reach out to me if that is happening or if you are struggling. You can hit next for me. Okay. Dr. Price, I know that I feel like we may have gone through this before where this video doesn't play correctly. So what I'm going to ask you to do is get the link at the bottom. Do you see it under the video? And see if we can play it that way. And I'm so sorry.
I'm going to stop sharing just for a minute and pull it up,
Thank you so much.
and then we will try. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me share my screen again.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay.
I wonder how the noise works.
Okay, y'all holler if you can't hear it or see it. I'm about to play it.
I can't hear it. Can anyone else hear it? Is it just me?
Okay, we can't hear it.
Okay, well, guys, we're just going to go over what consent is really quickly so that you will understand that. Consent to me in the Title IX world means verbal, sober. I think the sober is part of the thing that we struggle with sometimes. So the only way that if you were in my office and I would tell you that you could give or get consent is verbal and a sober yes. So, you have to talk to your partners. I think that's important. I have a 16-year-old and we have learned what consent means, even to hug someone. Like, is it okay if I hug you? And I think it's a different day and age. It's a different time from when I grew up, but it's important that you are comfortable with whoever you're around, and especially if you're going to touch another person, make sure that you get consent, because people take that seriously, and we need to take care of our neighbors and make sure that if we feel some way and we want to share that with them, we need to make sure that they are also okay with that. This is a cute little video, and when she does share this out to you guys, I want you to watch it. It's like 3 minutes long, but it's not scary or anything. It's kind of a cute little video to just explain what that is and how you would give that and get consent. So if you have a second after this, I do want you to watch that, and you can send Dr. Price an email about how comical and hilarious and great the video is if you want to. You can hit next for me, Dr. Price. Okay, so this is very important, guys, because I am not a confidential resource. So if someone were to share something with me, then I am what's called a mandated reporter. Your faculty members are mandated reporters. But sometimes you may have a problem that you may not want to talk to the grown-up in the room about. And if that happens, these places are safe spaces for you to share. So it's very important that you know this. So I want you to note that Student Counseling Services is a confidential reporter. You can go to them, you can talk to them, and they are not going to reach out to me. They will share my information with you, and they will encourage you to reach out to me, but they will not make you, and they will not bring you over here unless that's something that you want. Health services, again, same thing. When you are at a doctor and you're disclosing this information here on campus, they are not going to reach back out to me. Again, they may give you a card and give you my name and say, hey, I want you to go and talk to Kate, but they will not tell me anything that you've shared with them, and they will not force you to do that. Center for Women's Studies and Mitchell West Center for Social Inclusion, both of those as well, they are both housed together in Rice Hall. My friend Allison Bergner works over there, and so typically if a student wanted to go there, I would just say, hey, call over there and ask to speak with Allison, and they will set something up for you. Again, it's just important that even if this does not pertain to you specifically, just that you know this information, because someone may come to you with an issue and they may not know what to do. And if this way you can get them some help without anyone else being privy to that information and you protecting them. So that's very important. If you will hit next for me. And then how to report. I basically just want you to not even look at this slide, and I want you guys to think of report.una.edu, and it's changed since I've done this PowerPoint, but report.una.edu, if you'll write that down for me, I would really appreciate it. There you can go and report anything. So we have student of concern reports. I mean, it's not always a sex-related crime, and so student affairs covers a lot of different things. So there's a student of concern. If you have somebody that you know that is struggling with like food scarcity, or they can't afford their books, or something's going on in their home life, we have a case manager on campus as well that can help with those things and make sure that the students get what they need. If you're going to school here, you have access to these resources that you need to know about. So if you are ever wanting to report and you don't know how, you can start at report.una.edu, and then even if you report incorrectly, like that you didn't know what category it would need to fall under, it'll get to the right people, because who staffs that is our VP, and she's going to know where to send what to. So if that stresses you out and you're concerned that you're doing it wrong, that you're not, and if you turn something in, you can anonymously report something if you want to at any point in time. Also, you can just call us. You can come by here. Our office is in GUC room 202. So like if you were to come, no, I'm in 201. 202 is student affairs. If you were to come in through behind like the communications building, like sort of beside the art building, that big parking lot, you come into the GUC under those stairs or down those little stairs, we're the first door on the left. Not many people come through our office. It's a pretty private area. So also, I don't want you to worry about if someone sees you or anything like that. We also take care of that. We have different doors. So if you will come in one and you go out another. So that's just kind of an extra level of I don't want you to be concerned about coming here and then someone seeing you or you not knowing what to say at that point. So again, we handle that in our office pretty easily. You can hit next for me. Okay, so this is just about our process. I'm not sure if anyone's seen the news lately, but Title IX regulations typically change every time we have a new president. And so America is up in arms at the moment trying to figure out the new Title IX regulations. They will go live on August 1st of 2024. At that point, there will be a new policy and we'll have a different process. But for right now and for you guys on this trip, this is the way that the process would work if necessary. So An investigation does not occur unless a formal complaint is signed and filed. So if someone were to come into my office and say that something had happened to them, they have an option at that point where they could tell me what to do. Title IX is very student driven. So what the student wants is what we follow. So if a student came into me and said something happened, but they don't want to tell anybody, they don't want to move further, at that point, we would give them the option to have an educational conversation with the opposing side of this, the other party, I guess, if you would. We could have an educational conversation. We could issue what's called a no contact order that just kind of cuts communication between the two parties. So it's not always where you're signing a complaint and we're going straight to what's called a live hearing. A live hearing would be done if there was a formal complaint, and that's how a resolution would be found. There's a grievance pool process here at UNA. We have a grievance pool that is selected every 3 years, and they work with us and help us when complaints are signed. It goes to a live hearing where each party has an opportunity to ask questions to the other party, and a panel would make a decision of the responsibility of that case, and it could be a student is found responsible or found not responsible. Title IX is not the law. We are not the police. So it's a very different process if you were just to go to the police or to come here. So again, we would explain that to any student in that situation to let them know what their options are, supportive measures throughout our community, and what available resources we have on campus and in our city. It's rare that removals happen. I see that listed, but that's pretty rare. And typically, any situation that ends in a no contact order or an educational conversation, students don't typically come back again. I think a lot of times an educational conversation will stop that behavior. And so again, that's completely private and not anything that we discuss with anyone else. So if you were to come to me, have a problem, and needed me to talk to somebody else, I have to bring that other person in, and I have to give them the same respect that I gave you, as far as it's not my job to take sides or believe one over the other. It's my job to be fair and let each party talk, and then we go from there. So again, even if I've called students in that, they have a completely different story than the first student. And then that's when we have to navigate and decipher that can happen. And those are just conversations that we have to then resolve problems from there. So again, we're here to help. I think Title IX is pretty scary just in general. When someone says that, everyone sort of gasps and is alarmed, and I don't want you guys to think about it that way. Just think about accountability and taking care of your neighbor, and that would be the same no matter where you are. So especially since you guys are all going on a trip, same concept here. Take care of each other, look after each other, don't leave anyone behind. I think we all kind of know what to do, and I think the golden rule is something that people push a lot, but sort of narcissistic to me to say, treat me how I would like to be treated, but how we want to treat others with respect, regardless of who says how they feel. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But take care of each other, okay? Be good to each other. Hit next for me. So supportive measures, again, this is offered to both parties. So if someone were to come into me and say something happened, I'm still going to reach out to the other party, and I'm also going to offer them supportive measures, counseling, make sure that everyone's taken care of. I think that's where a lot of the disconnect is with Title IX. They think that, we only help women that are struggling. And guys, I've been in a lot of meetings, and my statistics are pretty dead even with males and women coming in. So I think it's important to know that things can happen to you no matter what, if you're a man, if you're a woman. And so just know that we're here to support you, and we will get you the support that you need here, especially basically anything that you need. Our job is to make sure that you're taken care of. And will you hit next for me? Okay, so this is just my phone number. You can email Title IX. You can find me if you just go to the website and type in Kate. I'm the only Kate here, so you'll find me pretty easily. And then, like I said, our office is in 201, which is right off the stairway into the GUC on the second floor, right across from the banquet halls, is a good way to describe it. And then I'm just going to talk to you guys for a minute about conduct because Dr. Gordon's out. So I don't know, he doesn't have a PowerPoint. So the code of conduct is easily located online. If you'll just go to UNA's main page, you can literally type in code of conduct in the top corner and it will pop up. What it's going to tell you about and what it's going to talk to you about, I'm going to go over some things that it does touch on, but I just want you to know that these things apply in no matter where you are. So that's the important part here. The code of conduct has, let's see, 25 violations listed. I'm going to go over these. I'm going to say them out loud. And again, I want you guys to look this up on your own time. And you may not know anything about the code of conduct, but it's beneficial to know, no matter if you're here or if you're going anywhere, just to kind of understand, again, the accountability that we hold for our students and that we expect and that we also know that you're capable of doing. So the first is listed as academic dishonesty. Clearly, you know, we would talk about if you got caught in one of your classes plagiarizing or utilizing somebody else's work or just copying someone else while in the same room. I mean, that's something that we would definitely address. Alcohol. So this is a big one, especially for you guys going into different countries. The unlawful use, possession, distribution, or sale of alcoholic beverages. You guys are going into a different country and the drinking age may be different. I think the overarching idea and everyone's is in this on the same page that says that you guys have to abide by the law. And so what they mean by that is the law here. You're all adults, so I cannot tell you what's going to happen in a different country, but I do want you to, again, remember that my main goal is that you take care of each other and look out for each other. Your faculty members are there to assist you. So like, even if you do get yourself into some sort of trouble, I want you to reach out to the adult and say, hey, I need help. I mean, that's what they're there for. So alcohol use is, I mean, I would say don't do that, but I know that you're going to a different place. So I say we abide by the UNA rules, but I still want you guys to all just be safe and also reach out to your faculty members if you need anything. Also listed third is assisting or cooperating, and the definition says action or inaction with another or others to violate the code of student conduct. It says complicity or failure of any student or organized group to appropriately address known or obvious violations of the student code of conduct. So that really just goes back to holding each other accountable, looking out for each other. If you see something that's wrong, say it. Say, hey, we probably shouldn't do that. You know, I want you to take up for each other in every situation you can. Discrimination is also listed. So clearly discrimination is wrong on any front, but Title IX related, you know, I say sex, gender based, all those things, but discrimination can look a lot of different ways. So take care of each other. Don't discriminate against one another. Discriminatory and bias related harassment, disorderly conduct or disruption, drugs, so the unlawful use, possession, distribution of, failure to comply, fire safety, fraud, gambling, harassment, harm to persons, hazing, hostile environment, IT and acceptable use. So this is talking about like violating the campus's policy as far as what you're allowed to search and look for on your internet browsers. Ordinance and laws, other policies, retaliatory discrimination, and that's kind of retaliation also falls under the Title IX. We had talked about that earlier. Sexual misconduct, theft, threatening behaviors, traffic and parking policy, trespassing, vandalism, and weapons. As you're going on a plane halfway across the world, so I'm not concerned about your weapons at that point because I do not think that you will be traveling with any. Vandalism, I mean, clearly we would not want to harm any place that we are going to. You want to leave it just as good as you found it. And really, I mean, I guess that's about it, guys, as far as all the conduct rules. again, take care of each other. I think that's the main thing. Look after each other. Never leave somebody behind, ever, for any reason. Don't do it. And if you follow those basic rules, really everything else is just going to kind of fall into place. So take care of each other, look out for each other, and go to your faculty if you're struggling. That's what they're there for. They're not there just to reprimand you and be like, oh, you're so wrong for this. They are literally there to also assist you. So reach out if you need something. Dr. Price has that tagline, the price is right, easy to remember. So when you, no matter where you are, remember that, and you'll be able to find the right person. Thank you guys so much for letting me talk to you. I know that I talked your ear off and it's a lot of information, but again, just know that if you need anything, that's what I'm here for. And I'm going to let myself out if you guys are okay with that.
Well, let's see if there's any questions before you go.
Sure.
Any questions? You can even type it in the chat if you are shy and don't want to talk.
Absolutely.
Just want to give you a minute to ask if you have anything. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming in. And
Have a
talking
great
with our
afternoon, guys.
students.
Have a great trip this summer. Bye.
Okay, so before we get back into the slideshow, I'm just going to briefly talk about something else that's a little bit uncomfortable, but we've had it come up on trips, and that is the use of dating apps while you are abroad. I am going to strongly discourage any use of dating apps when you're abroad. You know, we just had a presentation about consent, and when you are abroad, you're away from home, and you throw in perhaps a language barrier or certainly a cultural differences, that issue of consent, which can be very difficult here in your home environment, can get that much more sticky and tricky. So, you know, this is an academic trip. You are there to learn. So I'm going to strongly discourage any use of any dating apps while you are abroad, and save that for when you're home. Okay, let's get back to the presentation. Share this again and hope it works. That would be, I think, this one. Okay. So this time, are we good? Can you see my screen? Okay. Making sure. Oh, let's go to the slide, the right slide that we need. Perfect. Yay. Resume slideshow. Oh, okay. All right. So just so you know that the State Department has released a worldwide caution in October. This is not particularly unusual for the State Department to do. Y'all are probably aware that, well, at this time that we are recording this, there are several armed conflicts that are happening in the world. And so the State Department wants just everyone to be careful, to stay alert in locations where tourists are likely to be. Something you can do to help yourself be safe is to enroll in the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, or STEP. That just really lets the State Department know where you are and when you're going to be there. So if there is something that happens, you know, even if it's a natural disaster and they need to get you out quickly, or you need to be gotten out quickly, they will be able to locate you that much faster if they already know where you're going to be and when you're going to be there. So that's all they're going to do. That's all the information basically that they asked for. So I do recommend that you enroll in STEP just in case something were to happen. So to be safe, what you should be doing now to help be safe is to monitor what's going on in the country that you're going to be traveling to, and to continue to pay attention to what's going on while you are abroad. So that's probably the number one thing that you can do. Just know what's going on and what you're going to be getting into when you get to the country. A good idea is to leave behind your itinerary, your location addresses, and any important information for reaching you with a family member or trusted friend. Again, just in case, if for example, if your mom is used to you calling every day and all of a sudden, you're traveling and it's been over 24 hours since mom has heard from you, she might get worried. So try to stay in touch with family and friends, even if it's just a quick text to say, hey, I've landed, we're good, we're just busy traveling, I'll call you when I can. That just eases a lot of anxieties for your loved ones back home. Know your program's emergency plan. So each one of your faculty leaders should be talking to you about specific things that could happen in the country that you are traveling to and what the plan is if something happens. So your faculty leader is who you would look for that information. If you're going to be in one location for an extended period of time, you may want to look up the nearest hospital or other emergency services. And the last one is know the equivalent to 911 in your host country. So it's likely not going to be 911. So when I travel with my students to the United Kingdom, for example, that number is 999. So, and again, once you find that out or look it up, super easy just to pop it into your phone, just in case something happens, because what you don't want is that you're having an emergency and you have to spend precious time trying to look up what the emergency numbers are. So know that equivalent to 911, what the emergency number is in your host country before you travel. Okay, managing your health. So if you have any prescription medications, you are going to want to stock up before you go. So remember, if you have something that runs out during your trip, you're going to want to have extra to continue that medication. So you're going to want to stock up before you go and make sure you have everything that you need for the duration of the trip. And just because some things with travel happen, you may want to make sure you have a couple of days extra, again, just in case. You'll want to travel with any you want to travel with any prescription medication in what you carry on to the plane. I would not put it in your checked bags in case they got lost. You will want to keep your prescriptions in their original containers and just double check with the legality in your host country and make sure that it is okay and appropriate to take that medication into the country. You may want to also have a printed doctor's prescription, or at the very least a picture of that prescription. That will help if you lose your medication or if something else happens to expedite you getting some more. Depending on your location, you may want to bring some over-the-counter medications, but most things like over-the-counter, like aspirin or pain or fever medications, allergy meds, sunscreen, you can probably get that in most of the locations that you're going to. But if your group's plan is to, go out to a rural location, make sure that you have those items before you go. And then if you're like me, I have glasses, or if you have hearing aids, you may want to make sure that you have extra batteries, or in the case of glasses, that you have your prescription for your glasses. I really cannot see very well without my glasses at all, and that would be a big detriment to me if my glasses were to break. I really need them. So I always carry my prescription, again, just to help expedite the process if I were to break them or if something were to happen to them. So think about these things before you go. So managing your health. So the CDC does have recommended immunizations for different parts of the world that you're going to. Right now, at the time this is recorded, there aren't many COVID restrictions anymore for traveling to different countries, but that could change at any time. Just for your information, the CDC recommends that all travelers, regardless of where you're going, be immunized for measles because they could spread, that disease spreads very, very easily from person to person. Jet lag and time change. So I think everybody's probably going to experience some time change. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself while you're traveling, that you make sure that you're bringing water with you, that you don't get dehydrated, that especially if you're flying overnight, that you maybe have some snacks on you so that you don't get too hungry, that you're thinking about and planning about your meals when you are traveling, and just be prepared that if you are experiencing a large time change, that is going to catch up with you at some point in the trip. For the trip that we take to the UK, we've seen in past years that, first couple days adrenaline is getting the students through, but then that third day is when they kind of crash, and we plan for that. So just be sure that you're taking care of yourself and making sure that you are getting necessary water and food on your trip. And I will add here that I do recommend, especially if you have any kind of medical condition that could potentially be life-threatening, that you do voluntarily disclose that to your trip leaders. They are not legally allowed to discriminate against you for that or tell you that you can't go on the trip. But if an emergency happens, they will at least know what's going on and how to help you. So please, there's nothing worse I can say as a trip leader than seeing your student is having some kind of medical issue and you absolutely have no idea what's going on or what's happening with them. So please, I highly recommend that you voluntarily disclose anything which could lead to a serious medical condition to your group leaders. They will want to know and they want to be able to help you.
I just want to make an additional comment on this page, Dr. Price, particularly when she mentioned about the food and the water thing. A lot of excitement when you go to a foreign country, a new destination, wonderful people, wonderful food, all like that. Enjoy yourself. However, be careful about the things you eat. And a lot of place with different hygiene standard, different temperature, and because of your exhaustion of your body, all like that, it can be difficult unless you want to spend 1 week or 2 on diarrhea after you ate something not comfortable, then you take your own risk. The same thing for water. A lot of the country and city you travel to, those tap water is not suitable for you to directly drink. So it's better for you to have, drink only from the bottled water or from the cans or boiled water, or even just to have your water bottle with you. So that will help you have more just assurance about what you eat and what you drink. Make sure you have a, good way to go through the trip.
That is all great advice. Thank you, Dr. Hu. And now we are going to turn it over to Emily, who's going to talk about insurance.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's talk just a second about the INEX insurance that you get for these trips. So nobody plans to get hurt or injured before you go, right? But it's important to have this just in case and have an understanding of how it works. So UNA does require insurance for all participants going on these trips. We automatically purchase what's called the supplemental basic plan, which is what's on this chart right here. You can read through that a little bit as I'm talking, but this is basically what it includes in the coverage. But INEX will also send you a confirmation email where you're able to see, very detailed information about your coverage. And at that point, you will also have the option to purchase additional coverage if you would like to. That's completely optional. The one that we purchased fulfills the requirement, but everyone does have that option if they would like to. And we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So with this plan, it's valid in every country in the world. So it covers every country that our students are going to. And in that email that I mentioned, you're also going to have a printable insurance card. So it's really important that you have that whenever you go. Like I said, just in case anything happens, that you have that insurance card on you. A couple of notable policy exclusions. So it's not going to include anything routine like, like a physical, like a dental appointment. It doesn't include the prescription refills. Like Dr. Price was talking about, you're going to want to get that before you go. Doesn't cover any pre-existing conditions, preventative medicine, maternity or newborn care, and specifically doesn't cover any like extreme sports activities. So we have those listed here as well. So that includes like skydiving and hang gliding, parachuting, scuba diving, bungee cord jumping. So, you know, just keep that in mind while you're abroad. If you're doing any of these activities, it will not be covered if something happens. But like I said before, you'll get a complete list of details and information and exclusions in the policy description that you'll get via email. Okay, so what happens if you're abroad and you do need to go to the doctor for something? So it's based on like a reimbursement plan, basically. So pre-approval is not necessary just for a regular doctor's visit, but if you're having anything, if you have a serious medical condition, if you're being hospitalized or having surgery, you are encouraged to contact iNext before, you know, so that they can cover that before. But you know, like I said, any licensed doctor or facility meets the criteria. And then whenever you do go to the doctor, you know, you pay, hold on to that receipt, and then you can file a claim online at this link that's shown there. But if you have any questions while you're abroad, because I don't expect you to remember all of this by memory necessarily, but if you do have any questions about this while you're there, talk to your faculty advisors first of all. Definitely let them know about anything that's going on. But if you have questions about the insurance specifically, feel free to reach out to me or even our contact at iNext. They're super, super helpful with helping us understand the policy and the directions. So yeah, just keep that in mind whenever you're on your trip.
Thank you, Emily. So next are more basic safety tips. So when you are abroad, this is not the time to really stand out. You want to blend in as much as possible. And, you know, just like don't be walking around with obvious wads of money, right? You just don't want to do things that are going to obviously make you into a target. So don't flash cash. I would also leave if you have expensive jewelry or purses or really expensive shoes. I honestly would just leave that all home because again, if someone is looking to rob you, those are all signs that you have something to take. So I would just leave it home just so it doesn't get lost or it doesn't get taken. You know, a lot of these are just common sense, right? Don't give out your personal information to people that you don't know. When you're out, watch your food and drink. Make sure nobody's putting anything into your food or drink. When you're going out, I would carry money in more than one pocket or place. Additionally, I would make sure to leave, if you have an extra credit card or some extra cash, I would leave that safely secured in your room so that, again, if something happens, you do have access to other funds. Now, as I always tell my students, you know, if you do get, you know, if you do get pickpocketed or something happens or you lose, you know, you lose your cash, you lose your wallet, you know, I'm not going to let you starve. So we'll get you through. But obviously, nobody wants that to happen to them when they're abroad. So those are some tips to just keep safe those ways. And then really, as Kate said, don't go out alone. You know, have a buddy, watch out for each other when you're traveling around, you know, look out for the other members of your group. And again, know the emergency numbers in your area in case something happens. Okay. Okay, we're gonna see if this works. And even if the sound doesn't work, I still think it's good to watch. You don't necessarily need the sound to see. So what we're going to see is someone get pickpocketed on camera in the middle of London, in a very heavy tourist area in London. So let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, so hopefully, did we all see that? Did the sound work? We'll check. Did it work? Okay. Well, okay, so what the video emphasizes again is how quickly this happens. You know, if we're in an in-person session, I would, ask what are some of the things that happened that didn't go right in this situation that really made these women a target for these pickpocketers. You know, they're not really paying attention. They're filming themselves. They're obviously speaking a foreign language. They don't have their belongings secured. I mean, all of those ways made them kind of easy targets for these pickpocketers. So just know this is how quickly it can happen. So please watch out for yourself. Make sure your belongings are secured, that you're keeping an eye on things. If you are in a tourist area or a crowded place and you have a purse, don't hang it on the back of your chair. Make sure it's secured. If you have a backpack, make sure you are paying attention to what's going on with that. You may want to wear it in the front in certain cases. So just be aware when you are traveling, especially to places where there's a lot of tourists. Okay. Passports, visa, and entry paperwork. So hopefully everybody has their passport by now, and you really need to remember to take it when you go to the airport. Research any additional paperwork or documentation you may need. Right now, I don't think anybody would need a COVID-19 test, but that can change at any moment. If you are laying over through a country that's not your destination country, you may want to check to make sure you don't need a layover visa. Now, your faculty leader should be advising you about all of these things, but just in case. And do recommend, and when I lead a trip, I always ask the students to take a picture of their passport and send it to me. Again, this is so that if it's lost or if anything happens to it, that it greatly expedites the process of getting a new one through the embassy if you have a picture of your passport. So I highly recommend that you do that. Oh, skipped one. All right, finances. So we recommend when you travel abroad that you use multiple sources of money. Again, just in case something were to happen, you may want to bring a couple credit cards, bring some cash, or have it set up that you can pay for things on your phone, which a lot of countries will allow you to do that. You may have to notify your bank of your travel dates to make sure that they don't deny any purchases that you're trying to make while you're abroad, especially when you first get abroad. So that's pretty easy. Typically, you just call them up, tell them where you're going and your travel dates, and they'll make sure that there's no problem with that. Same thing with cell phones. Your cell phone may work, but you may have to unlock it to work abroad. So you'll want to contact your cell phone company and make sure that everything's going to be set up and that potentially you have a plan that's not going to charge you exorbitant fees to use your phone abroad. So you'll want to check with that. Budgeting. You know, everybody should have a budget, even if you are going on a short-term trip. You should have some idea of how much you can spend so that you don't have buyer's remorse when you get home and some regrets about how much that you spent abroad, because it really can add up very quickly if you're buying things for yourself and for your loved ones back home. So just have a budget and some idea. And then if you are going to use cash, you should want to familiarize yourself with the currency before you go, because it can look very different. I really have been one of the bad tourists who did not do that. And I've gone up to the till before and just like handed the person my money and was just like, help me. And they were very sweet and they did it. And I don't think I got scammed, but I was really setting myself up to get scammed. So don't be like me. Familiarize yourself with the currency before you travel.
I want to make some additional comments here for your money, particularly if you are interested or going to use cards, no matter it's credit cards or debit cards. First of all, contact your card issuer, your bank, to make sure you are able to use it. Some of those cards will have a foreign transaction fee, FTF. Make it familiar with you what percentage it is, no matter it's purchase or withdrawal. But do not use your credit card and ATM machine to withdraw cash. That will result with a cash advance fee. It's a lot, okay? If you do have to withdraw cash, try to use your debit card. There might be a foreign transaction fee plus ATM fee. So check with your bank for that part. And then if you are going to use phone, make sure it's like you have an Apple Pay, Google Pay, whatever is activated. So when you go to the foreign country, you can get access through that as well. Sometimes you will find it's much easier and secure. Use your mobile payment rather than cash or cards. So just for your benefits, get familiar with yourself about multiple source access to your funds.
Okay.
Okay.
Turn it over to Dr. Hu.
Sure. We totally understand. You are very excited about the upcoming trip. Get to a different country, different world, different people, different food, culture, everything. And very excited for you to go. That's great. But once you get there, after maybe a couple of days, you will become, homesick. And no matter how good is the food over there, you probably still want to have some kind of the southern fried chicken or some kind of the food here, which is normal too. Bring the photos with you. In the old time, we have an album, but right now you have your cell phone or your laptop. You can not just for you to read or watch, but you can also get your friends over there and introduce with them everything you would like to miss. And even when you come back home, there might be a time you have to readjust yourself to the United States. Something happened in other foreign countries, but not happen here. But those are also cultural shocks people normally will get through. And all those anxiety or, sometimes it's comfortableness or uncomfortableness, it's not all normal. So just to make sure you are not, feel strange about that. Okay. Next one, please. Want to emphasize some behavioral and cultural expectation issue. Depending on the place where you go, clothing, there might not be clothing restriction, but just to be careful about where you are traveling to, what appropriate clothing expectation would be. As a routine, I normally suggest to my faculty leader and student participants, pack at least one business casual shirt or dress in your suitcase. In case of your host or your friends over there, or would like to host you for a nice dinner or a formal occasion, or at the end of your trip, your group have some extra money. You really want to treat everyone well, get into a upscale restaurant or something like that, or attend a concert. I don't want you getting embarrassed by yourself, right? Just pack one little bit nice dress or shirt will make you just go a long way. Second, there are different laws and customs and the regulations in the country or the destination you are visiting. For example, some places in the Asia or South America, maybe some prohibitions when you go to some particular places because of religious or other traditions. So make sure you observe those things, no matter it's hat or the shoes or other kind of clothes. So it's just like something you have to observe and follow. If you don't know, ask your faculty advisors. They are expert of those particular country or destination, and check with them. Okay, and group dynamics, flexibility. We want you to go on a trip and come back, still be friends. Hopefully, that's an expectation we expect from you from there. Next page, Dr. Price. Get familiar about you, the destination where you're going. Okay, for example, learn about their culture, the food, and all the exciting things you can do and the places you can go, and how to get there when you get time, right? If you are leaving the group for something to meet your friends, or you have a 1 day or 2 of your free day, always let the rest of your group and your faculty leader know where you will go, how you will go there. In the case you need contact, how do you contact with them? Okay. And also, if you live in a hotel, what I always do is, and at least grab a business card from the hotel, show the name, address, or take a picture of it. So show to the cab driver or other people when you want to get back home, you know where to go, right? And if you want to participate in some kind of activities there, make sure exactly you know what's going to happen. When I remember went to Korea, my friends treated me so well. They get me to some magic spa. And if I know get out of a spa will be, black and blue all over my body, I will, think over about what to whether to go or what to do. The same thing to you, to a different country, different destination, a different culture. We want you to fully do your homework, make sure you know what you're going to experience before you expose you over there. And always stay safe. That's the most important thing. Yeah. Packing. Sorry. Pack as light as possible. Normally, right now, fly economy class, you are allowed one checked bags up to 50 pounds, and also one carry-on. Carry-on, you probably want to limit it to less than 20 pounds. And you are responsible for carrying your own luggages, okay? And no matter it's hard shell or soft shell, make sure it's comfortable and versatile enough for you to carry those luggages. And you are going to, again, responsible for your own. Think about if you still have multiple luggages and each one of you have to catch up with a flight, take a bus or train or boat, and you cannot handle yours, it will be a problem, okay? So those things you have to think about. And you also probably have to think about whether the laundry facilities are available in the hotel or accommodation you will stay? If not, what you want to do about your laundry by yourself or something, right? Wear the comfortable shoes. There might be a lot of walking or hiking, or if you end up go to beach, you will have your appropriate shoes with you. Different country and different destination have a different, those adapters or connectors for your electronic devices. Some places might be 3 heads or spearhead instead of round or rectangle heads. What I found out to be useful is you go to Walmart or Target or TJ Maxx, they have some universal connectors, adapters over there. Less than $10. Buy one, bring none with you. When you need, you don't run out of battery quickly, so you can get your electronic devices charged. Some personal travel items, like if it's long haul international travel, you might think about the neck pinner, eye masks, earplugs, whatever make you feel comfortable, right? Will help you to get through those hours. Depending on different places you go, you might also want to pack some like umbrellas, right? The hands, sun cream, and sunglasses as well. Okay. So all those are some travel tips. If you don't know, specific items might be needed, check with your faculty leader because they are experts, again, to the places you will travel to. And they might also travel there many, many times. So they will give you good suggestions about what to pack. Next one, Dr. Price.
All right, and I am just going to reiterate that you are responsible for carrying your luggage, not your faculty leader, not the other students that are going with you, but you. So make sure that you are prepared to do that on your trip. So what should you be doing now to make sure that you are prepared? If you have not filled out your insurance registration, you should have a link in your email. Please go ahead and do that. Your faculty leader hopefully by now has given you a liability waiver and a FERPA waiver form. Those have to be filled out. That's a requirement from UNA. So you'll need to make sure that's filled out before you go. Just so you know, that FERPA waiver form is so that we can talk to the person that you designate if something were to happen on the trip. So that's a really important form to do. If you don't have that form filled out, then we really legally can't talk to that person if something were to happen. So make sure that form's filled out. ADA form and notifications if needed. Make sure you send your copy of your passport to your group leaders. Again, that's to expedite the process if it gets lost or stolen. Your flight itinerary, if you're not on a group flight, make sure that your trip leaders have that. And again, we recommend that you leave your itinerary with someone trusted at home. Double check that phone coverage. Double check your banking availability and know your plans for financials while you're on your trip, and check your prescriptions and stock up on meds. And again, I'm going to highly recommend that you voluntarily disclose any medical conditions to your faculty leaders. Even if a medical condition has been in remission for many years, when you're stressed out from traveling, it can pop back up. And we've had students that's happened to before. Again, it's a horrible feeling as a trip leader to see a student who is obviously having some kind of distress, medical distress, and not having any idea of what's going on. So please disclose those things to your trip leaders. Okay, so you have gone on your trip and you have come back. Some of you may have some additional coursework or things to wrap up once you return, but for some of you, you are going to come right back and you're going to say, how can I go again? I want to go back abroad. I had a great time. How do I get back abroad? So we're going to talk about 2 options to do that very briefly today. The first is the ISEP program, which is for semester and year-long study abroad opportunities. So I will turn it over to Emily to talk about that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so if you're looking for more time abroad, even after you come back, the ISEP program is a great option for that. It's an exchange program that UNA is a part of that lets undergraduate students go for 1 or 2 semesters at a partner school abroad. So there's over 50 different countries available and over 150 different universities. So a lot of different program options, a lot of variety. But one of the biggest advantages to doing a program like ISEP is you're still paying UNA tuition, which means that your scholarships also apply. So like if you have a tuition scholarship or a housing scholarship, for example, those will also apply because you're still paying your tuition and fees directly to UNA. So honestly, price is very comparable to, even doing a regular semester here, like with tuition and housing and those costs. So if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out to me directly. Like I said, my name is Emily Ferris. You can email me eferris@una.edu, or you can find me on the second floor of Powers Hall. So yeah, I would love to talk to y'all about more opportunities if you would like to go abroad once you come back.
Okay, then I think the other Dr. Price might be here to talk about the Fulbright program.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So very briefly, the U.S. Student Fulbright Program is one of the most prestigious programs in the country. It provides 1 year full funding to a country of your choosing. It is you can teach English abroad, get a master's degree abroad, do a research project abroad, and the U.S. State Department fully funds it for a year. So if you're going abroad on this summer and you really want to go back and get more involved in that community or want to check out other places, the Fulbright program can be there for you to provide a kind of once in a lifetime experience. The full funding covers round trip airfare, monthly living expenses, health care, deferment of your U.S. Student loan for that year, and sometimes it can include research funds as well, depending on what you apply for. The first time that you can apply for a Fulbright is the October of your junior year. The October of your senior year. So if you're going to graduate in May of 2025, you would be 2024. The reason is that once you're awarded a Fulbright, you actually have to be graduated from your BA or BS or just your undergraduate degree before you can leave. So if you're interested in this, it's 120 plus countries. It's a really fantastic, life-changing experience. My job here is to help you work on your application materials to make you feel as confident in your application as possible. And then if you win it, hopefully you bring me something back. You can email me to talk more about the program. I'm going to put my email here in the chat. So just please feel free to reach out. And I'd love to talk to you about this program. It's a really good program.
Dr. Price, how many winners have we had? Get Fulbrights.
Since I've started, we have 14 since I started. So this is a pretty prestigious program. So I average about 2 students a year win a Fulbright.
And what kind of countries have they gotten the awards to?
Taiwan, South Korea, Greece, Mexico, Indonesia, Kosovo, Malaysia. I'm probably forgetting one more. Czech Republic.
Thank you.
So Europe, East Asia, Latin America, all sorts of places.
All right. Thank you. All right. Are there any questions before we go? And I put my info in the chat as well, just in case. All right. Oh, well, we
Okay.
appreciate you coming out today.
Yeah. Everyone have a safe and pleasant trip. Take advantage of the UNA and the World can offer. But most importantly, please remember this is an educational trip. And you are going there primarily for an education study abroad experience. And be a good ambassador of your program, your department and college, the University of North Alabama and American people. And hopefully you will be enjoying the trip and be safe. Okay, so have a good trip in the summer.
I see one question. When will they
Oh.
receive their flight info? That will depend on the trip that they're going on. So the faculty leader will be the one that has their flight information. So that would be the person to contact. All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.